Thank you so much, Matt. That was fantastic. That's another benefit of doing training in Zoom. We can train from all over the world. I, I can even put up the International Space Station in the background one day, perhaps, and fulfill another dream, truly being beamed up, as you say. As we begin, I want to ask everyone, what do you think of when you hear the word hard? What image or thoughts or feelings come to your mind? And I want you to put that into the chat box, if you would. Just a few words, just chat it out to everyone real briefly. When it comes to the word hard, what do you think of? What are some of the meanings that has for you? No, technical skills, difficult, a challenge, very good, solid, difficult. Wow, many people have heard of hard and soft skills. Excellent. I think about all kinds of things. Hard diamonds, concrete walkways, problems. Like technical problems can be hard sometimes. If you've ever worked with my parents on their computer, you would appreciate that. All right, now how about the word soft? In the chat box, I want you to do the same thing. You've given me some great words around hard. When you think of soft, what thoughts or images or associations do you have with that word? And put that into the chat box, if you will. Give me a word or a phrase. When you think of soft, what does that mean to you? Intangible. Oh, emotional intelligence. A sofa. I love it. Marshmallows. Oh, good examples. Malleable. Nice. Flexible. Gentle. Wonderful. As we can see, there are so many ways to interpret these two words. Reflecting on our theme today, I decided to use that model of the beach because I started thinking about what kind of sand we have on the beach. We might have hard sand that allows us to drive vehicles across the beach. It allows us to walk comfortably. It allows us even to build structures if we want to. On the other hand, we may also have sand that is too soft. Woo, I'll move over. We may be up to our necks in sand because it is too soft and can't carry our weight, and it sucks us down. But if we do it just right, perhaps we can build one of these. We may need a combination of hard sand and soft sand brought together, shaped to create something incredible like a sandcastle. I find hard, soft, hard or soft, hard and soft, hard versus soft. In language, it doesn't take very much for us to go from two complementary ideas to two ideas that are at odds with one another. I've seen this happen with hard versus soft skills. Much like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, I think it's not so much about is the one right or the other, but what is that combination that is just right for each of us? So tonight, we're going to go a little deeper into this concept, hard versus soft skills. And I want to change the perception that they're opposites in the first place. When you think of hard, we may think of a wall. And a soft, we might think of a pillow. We think those are opposites. Well, what if they're really not? What if you can be hard and soft at the same time? Understanding this concept can improve the most important relationships in our professional and personal lives. I looked up the origin of this phrase. Where did this idea come from? As I tracked it down as best I could, I was fascinated to learn that this came out of the U.S. Army Training Manual. I know we have at least one veteran in the audience. We may have many more. And if you've been part of the military, you know that they are committed to training. Every year, they bring in new employees, if you will, soldiers to be trained. And they're constantly looking at how do they upgrade our training process? How do we make it better than it was so that people are effective quickly in their roles in the Army? Not that much different than Toastmasters, is it? When you think about our orientation of new members, we're bringing in new members all the time. And in the Army, they described this term as hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills were the technical skills, the skills of production and operation, your design, operating software, how to work a machine. These were all the hard skills. If you take your car to the mechanic, changing the oil is a hard skill the mechanic has to be able to change that oil in your car and put in fresh oil to make sure it continues to operate properly. Soft skills were the interpersonal skills, the skills of leadership and communication, the skills of creating teams and working with others to achieve goals. In the case of our car, the soft skills really are about your ability to tell your mechanic in enough detail what the problem is so they can fix that kerchunk that your engine makes when you make a left-hand turn. The term soon became as ubiquitous as the cell phones that we all carry. In fact, I did a search today, an internet search on hard versus soft skills. I got over 973 million results. Over 900 million, almost a billion results on this concept. It is everywhere. And I will say, for as long as I've heard this phrase, hard versus soft skills, I've hated it. Oh, it creates a visceral repulsion in my body. I wasn't sure why. I had to reflect on this because every time I heard this, I thought it's not represented accurately. It's not hard versus soft skills. I had to reflect on, well, how do I define hard and how do I define soft? For me, hard, I had phrases like hardcore, hard-headed, solid as a rock hard. Various meanings associated with that word. Being tough, being committed, strong, persistent, being all in. When I was growing up playing games with friends, we would say, go hard or go home. And by that, we meant bring everything you have to the game. If you're not going to be fully engaged, you might as well not be here. It might mean difficult, as many of you noticed. I think hard is also associated with the worthiness, something that is hard, maybe worthy to do, or it has a sense of accomplishment because it is hard. On the other hand, soft had a very different meaning for me. And I will admit, a lesser meaning for me. For me, soft, I heard phrases like soft hands, soft voice, soft body. The meanings behind these were weakness, laziness, perhaps overly compassionate, incompetent even. What a definition for hard and soft. When I would hear hard and soft skills, I immediately took that the soft skills were less. And that is what drove me crazy, because soft skills really are the hard skills. For anyone who's had to work in a group or lead a team, you know this. In university, I studied computer science. I was able to learn a computer language. I was able to use that computer language to write a program. I even was able to put googly eyes on the screen and make my own version of Hangman for the computer. All of that I was able to do on my own. I wouldn't say it was easy. I had a lot to learn and do. But it was magnitudes easier than working with a team of 5 other student programmers where we had to work together to satisfy a client. to satisfy some larger desire from someone else. Now I've got 6 or 7 people's expectations all coming into this project. And how do I work with that, manage that? How does everyone have a voice? How do we make sure that we're able to progress together? That is a significantly different level of skill and competency that's needed than just working on my own. Fortunately, like a captain seeing the beach through the fog, I've had a few experiences that have challenged my view of this and have helped give me some perspective on this topic. For those of you who know me, and maybe those who don't, I've got quite the reputation, I understand, when it comes to this. I love to dance. I will luau. I will tango. I will even Macarena. I'm very open when it comes to different styles of dance. And I love it because it is such a beautiful way to connect with other people. In dance, especially partner dance, and if you've partner danced, just briefly while you're listening, I'd be curious to know, what's your favorite partner dance? If you quickly put it in the chat. Let's see how many dancers we have out there. Don't be shy. Maybe you'll find a new partner in this group. Oh, the polka, nice. Waltz, 2-step. That's right, you do your own thing, Christina. Fantastic. For those who have been in a partner dance, you know that there is a form, there is a structure to that partner dance. Typically 2 people in a traditional partner dance, and each has to hold the other. We're holding hands on one side, the other hand is on a hip or on a back. And that connection is so important to dancing. In dancing, you have the leader and the follower. It's important to be firm, but not too hard when you are connected. Just like it's important to be soft, but not too limp when it comes to that connection and the way you hold one another. Imagine yourself out for a walk. Would you push someone along to make sure they're going in the direction that you want? You might push them hard to make sure they're going where you want to go. Or likewise, have you ever dragged someone on, or can you see going for a walk and having to drag someone behind you because they're so limp and have so little energy and engagement and connection in that interaction? It's hard to imagine. Dancing is just like this. The leader can direct strongly. It can push, almost like carrying a mannequin across the floor. The action will look stilted. It will look very awkward. And it may be fun for one, but probably not fun for either. Likewise, the follower can have very limp arms, and there's no connection. So the leader may go to lead and walk right into the follower because they can't understand what the follower is going to do. They're not communicating with their body. There is a trick to this. Often we hear about hard versus soft, hard or soft. And yet I think it's not about being too hard or too soft, but can we be soft and firm in the same moment? Can we be soft and firm in the same moment? Not opposites, but at the same time. That is where mastery lies. It's a lot like, let's see. I think of it somewhat like a mattress. When you think of a mattress, we often use the word soft, and yet if you push into the mattress, it has resistance. It pushes back slightly. You will indent your fingers on the mattress if you push on it, but it is pushing back slightly as well. It is firm, and yet it is still considered soft at the same time. Firm and soft at the same time. It's like being connected to someone. You can be firm and engaged and still understanding and soft in that moment. I think about Tai Chi. As in Tai Chi, we had a motion called push hands. If you took your hands now, and feel free if you like to, but essentially it's pushing your hands. You put your hands to the other person's forearm and hands, and you gently push them away from you. And then at one point you turn and they use their hands and they push back towards you. It's a back and forth, a give and a take. You're connected. Now, if you push hard, you probably knock them over. And that's not the purpose. It's not like a martial arts film where you're trying to beat up bad guys. It's about understanding the flow between two people, feeling the energy as it moves back and forth. That's why I learned that you need to be firm enough to push so they can feel you as you push. And you need to be soft enough to receive and yet firm so they feel you as they push. We see examples of this in our life sometimes. For example, if someone's wronged us, I can be hard, I can be in their face, I can be cutting, I can insult them, I can call them nasty phrases and names. Or I can be kind of limp. I can apologize even though they hurt me. I can run away, I can avoid them altogether, disconnect from what's happening. Those are the extremes of how we handle ourselves. But what if we are soft and firm instead of hard or limp? What if we are firm in that we hold that other person accountable? Accountable for their actions, accountable for how they made us feel in that moment, accountable for what was not acceptable, whatever that is. At the same time, we can also be soft. We can be kind and polite even, as we give them this feedback. I was a big fan of action movies growing up, and I think about all of the police officers who had to go into the captain's office. The hero inevitably walked in, and they got chewed out. They got yelled at for 5 minutes on the screen. Well, that's one way to do it, I suppose. What we don't see is the option of that captain could just stay calm, still holding those police officers accountable for their actions, still being polite, and still having high expectations without all the emotional interrogation and intimidation. Hard and soft skills. As we think about this, I'd have you consider in your life, whether your role as a leader or maybe you have a life partner, family member, you might be a parent or certainly a child of someone. Where do you see yourself acting in a hard way? Really being on top of someone? Do you feel like you're being too aggressive? And what kind of results are you getting with that? On the opposite end, at times, do you feel too soft or limp? Do you feel like you're walking away from too much in your life? You're avoiding perhaps a tough conversation? How would it change your life if you found a way to be firm and soft at the same time? What kind of connection would that give you? My spouse was talking to me about this the other day, and I many days ago actually, when I was telling her about what I was going to talk about, and she was saying, just to bring it back to the soft skills, that she thinks soft skills is aptly named. Soft skills, because when you want to get anything done, you really are influencing people in a soft way. How many of us have true authority over another person? Yet we use our interpersonal skills to make that happen. And we can use that in a very strong way, as my friend Latanya says. She's a colleague and a good friend of mine, but she doesn't call them soft skills. She calls them strong skills, which is a lovely phrase because they are the strong skills. You can be strong technically, but to be strong with interpersonal skills will help you to advance in many ways that just being strong technically cannot. So consider where you are today. How hard or soft are you in your life? And how can you be firm and soft? How can you be firmer and still be the person you are in your life and into your interactions? What will that do for you? And just like the right combination of hard and soft sand will create a beautiful sandcastle, I hope that you're able to find greater firmness and softness in your life to connect with the people who are important to you. Thank you very much, Matt.